Please, do not shave my hair. I'm innocent. I don't even know the man.
Don't worry, my dear. By the time we finish shaving your hair, you will be like the rest of us, bald.
In a village where no woman could grow hair, one girl was born with long hair. They hated her for it, not knowing she was their only hope. Once upon a time, there lived a village known as the Bald Village. At first glance, the village looked ordinary. Mud houses stood in neat rows. Narrow footpaths connected homes to farms and streams. Children ran barefoot, chasing one another in the dust. Elders sat under the old Iroko tree every evening, sharing stories of the past, but there was something strange about the Bald Village. Every woman there was bald. From the day a female child was born, no hair ever grew on her head. Not as a baby. Not as a child. Not as a grown woman. Generation after generation. The women of the village remained bald. It had been that way for so long that no one questioned it anymore. Baldness was their identity. Baldness was their fate. Then one day, fate broke its own rule. Her name was Zara. The day Zara was born, fear entered the village. The midwives screamed when they saw her. One of them nearly dropped the baby. Tiny strands of black hair covered the child's head, thick and full, shining under the lantern light. It was something none of them had ever seen before. Before anyone could ask questions or seek answers, tragedy struck. Zara's mother died immediately after giving birth. Her body grew cold while the baby cried loudly beside her. Confusion filled the hut. Morning came quickly. Barely a month later, Zara's father fell ill. No herbs worked. No prayers helped. He grew weaker by the day until death finally took him as well. By the time Zara was old enough to recognize faces, she had already lost both parents. According to tradition, she was sent to live with her closest relative, her aunt Mema Vero. Mema Vero accepted her, but not with love. Mema Vero had a daughter of her own named Vero, a girl who was bald like every other female in the village. From the very first day Zara entered the hut, Mema Vero felt a sharp pain in her heart. The child she took in had something her own daughter would never have, hair. As Zara grew, her hair grew with her. It became long, thick, and shiny. It fell down her back like a royal cloth. Whenever she walked, people turned to look. Whenever she bent her head, sunlight danced on her hair. The women of the village noticed. Some admired her openly. "Zara, your hair is beautiful," they would say. "Your hair looks like a blessing." Others admired her quietly, smiling while sadness sat heavy in their hearts. But some did not admire her at all. Mema Vero watched Zara closely every day. Each time she saw Zara combing her hair by the fire, something bitter stirred inside her. Her own daughter often sat nearby, watching silently, her smooth head shining. Comparison filled that hut, and comparison turned into hatred. Despite everything, Zara remained gentle. She helped with chores. She fetched water from the stream. She greeted elders politely. She never spoke back, even when Mema Vero treated her badly. The villagers could not help but like her. Then came the day that changed everything. The oracle called the village together. Everyone gathered at the sacred grove. Drums stopped beating. Conversations ended. The oracle stepped forward, leaning on her carved staff. Though her eyes were clouded with age, her voice was strong. "The curse will end," the oracle said. The people gasped. "The one who carries what was taken shall rise," she continued. "She shall become queen. She shall marry the prince of the kingdom. Through her purity, the curse shall be broken." Fear and excitement filled the air. "The girl with hair," the oracle said clearly. "She is the chosen one." All eyes turned to Zara, her legs shook. Her heart raced. Mema Vero froze. The elders reminded the people of the curse that had placed the village in this condition. Many years ago, a woman lost her husband. Instead of helping her, the villagers accused her of killing him. They dragged her to the village square, shaved her hair, beat her, and humiliated her. They banished her from the village. As she left in tears, she turned back and cursed them. "You have taken my dignity," she cried.
I curse you today. You will become bald from generations after generations.
And so it happened. Now Zara stood as hope, but hope can also be a threat. Every praise Zara received made Mema Vero angrier. Each time people spoke of the future queen, jealousy burned deeper inside her. She knew one thing: if Zara lost her purity, she would lose everything. That was when Mema Vero made her decision. One evening, Zara returned from the stream. She was tired and thirsty. Mama Vero handed her a drink, smiling sweetly. "Drink this," she said. "You must be exhausted." Zara drank, her vision blurred, her body grew heavy, she collapsed into darkness. And that night, Zara's destiny began to fall apart. Zara woke up suddenly to loud shouting. At first, the voices confused her. Her head felt heavy, her eyes burned, and her body felt weak, as if strength had been drained from her. She tried to sit up, but before she could understand what was happening, a sharp pain hit her shoulder. A stone. Another followed, striking her leg. Zara screamed. She opened her eyes fully and realized she was surrounded. Men, women, children. They stood in a tight circle around her, shouting loudly, their voices filled with anger and disgust. "Abomination! Immoral girl! She has brought shame upon us." Zara pushed herself up slightly, fear filling her heart. "What is happening?" she cried. "Why are you shouting at me?" No one answered her. Another stone hit her back. Someone else spat near her feet. Zara looked around wildly, confused and terrified. She had gone to the stream earlier. She had returned home tired. Her aunt had given her a drink. That was the last thing she remembered. She looked down. Her clothes were still on her body. She was not naked. She was not touching anyone. Yet the people shouted as if she had committed a terrible crime. "I did nothing." Zara cried loudly. "I swear by my life, I did nothing wrong." But the crowd did not want to hear her voice. "She was found with a man." Someone shouted. "She is not pure." Another screamed. Zara shook her head desperately. "I do not know any man," she cried. "I was alone. I only drank water and slept." Her words were drowned by noise. As the shouting continued, Mama Vero and her daughter, Vero, returned from the farm, carrying baskets on their heads. They stopped when they saw the crowd gathered around their hut. Mama Vero dropped her basket and rushed forward. "What is happening here?" she asked loudly. The villagers quickly explained. They spoke fast and angrily. They told her that a man had been seen lying beside Zara. They said Zara was found unconscious. They said she had disgraced the village. They said the future queen had broken the law of purity. Mama Vero did not ask questions. She did not look at Zara closely. She did not pause to think. She believed them immediately. Mama Vero shook her head slowly, pretending to be shocked. "Ah," she said, clicking her tongue. "This is terrible. Very terrible." Zara crawled toward her aunt, tears streaming down her face. "Auntie, please," she cried. "I did not do this. I drank the water you gave me and slept. I do not know anything else." Mama Vero pulled her wrapper tighter and stepped back. "If you are innocent," she said coldly, "why would a man be found beside you?" Zara shook her head violently. "I do not know him," she cried. "I swear I do not know him." Mama Vero turned to the crowd. "This is shameful," she said. "If she has truly done this, then she has stained all of us." The villagers murmured loudly in agreement. Mama Vero's eyes darkened. "There is only one punishment for this," she continued. "Her hair must be shaved." The crowd erupted. "Yes, shave her hair, let her be like the rest of us." Zara froze. Her heart stopped. She raised her hands to her head, shaking. "No," she screamed. "Please, do not shave my hair. I did not do this. Please." Mama Vero did not hesitate. She stepped forward, grabbed Zara roughly by the arm, and pulled her to the ground. Another woman joined her. Zara struggled, screaming and crying, but they were stronger. "Auntie, please," Zara cried. "Have mercy on me." Mama Vero ignored her. She held Zara's head firmly while the other woman brought out a sharp blade. Zara felt the cold metal touch her scalp. She screamed. She begged. She cried until her voice cracked. "Please, I am innocent," she cried. "Please." But they did not listen. Mama Vero pressed her down harder. The blade moved. Strands of Zara's long hair fell to the ground. With each stroke, Zara felt something tear inside her. Her heart broke with every cut. Tears ran freely down her face as her hair dropped in heavy clumps onto the dusty ground. The crowd watched. Some shouted in approval. Some turned away. Some watched silently, their faces unreadable. When it was finally over, Zara's head was bare. Her scalp burned. Her body shook. She collapsed on the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. Mama Vero stood up slowly, breathing heavily. Inside her heart, satisfaction filled her like warm fire. It is done, she told herself. Let us see how a bald girl will become queen. The crowd soon dispersed. By morning, the village had moved on. Zara was no longer greeted. No one praised her anymore. Children pointed at her and whispered. Women avoided her path. Men looked at her with judgment. She stayed inside the hut. She stopped singing. She stopped smiling. She stopped dreaming. At night, she cried silently, holding her bald head and asking the ancestors why they had abandoned her. Days passed. Weeks passed. Then something unexpected happened. One morning, Zara touched her head absent-mindedly and felt something strange. Something rough. She touched again. Tiny strands of hair, she gasped. The next day, there were more. Within weeks, her hair was clearly growing again. The village noticed. Whispers spread like wildfire. How is her hair growing? She was shaved for immorality. She should be bald forever. What Mema Vero did not know was an ancient truth, one that existed even before the curse. In the bald village, when a woman's hair was shaved falsely for immorality, her hair would begin to grow again within weeks. Only a truly guilty woman would remain bald forever. Fear entered Mema Vero's heart. She stopped sleeping well. She avoided people's eyes. She knew the truth was catching up with her. And it did. The king heard everything. Soon, guards arrived. Mema Vero, her daughter, and the women involved were summoned to the palace. The king's anger shook the hall. Then the man who was paid to lie beside Zara was brought forward. He confessed. Mema Vero fell to her knees. The truth was exposed. Zara was cleared. Justice was served. And as Zara prepared to marry the prince, Mema Vero and her daughter worked under the sun, carrying water and firewood for the wedding they tried to stop. As Zara stood in royal cloth, her hair flowing once again. On the wedding day, drums filled the air. Zara stood beside the prince, radiant and calm. As the drums sounded, the procession began. Zara walked gracefully, her head held high, her steps firm and proud. The villagers watched in silence, a mixture of awe and shame in their eyes. When she reached the throne, the prince took her hand. Together, they knelt before the king, who blessed the union and declared that Zara was now the rightful queen, the one destined to lift the curse of baldness. At that moment, something remarkable happened. Women across the village began to notice tiny strands of hair sprouting on their heads. At first, it was only a whisper, but within hours, the growth was undeniable. Baldness, the ancient curse that had haunted them for generations, began to disappear. The people gasped in wonder. Her hair. Her innocence. It healed us all, someone whispered. And indeed, the prophecy had been fulfilled. Zara, pure and unbroken, had broken the curse simply by the being herself. Meanwhile, Mema Vero and Vero could only watch in disbelief. Their hands, rough and calloused from labor, trembled as they carried buckets of water and firewood. They wanted to hide, to vanish, but the palace doors were closed, and their tasks demanded their presence. Every time Zara smiled or laughed with the prince, Mema Vero felt a stab of regret that she could not escape. She had tried to destroy Zara. And yet, Zara had risen above it all. The celebration continued late into the evening. Music, laughter, and singing filled the palace and spilled into the village. For the first time in decades, the bald village knew joy. Mothers hugged their daughters and felt the soft hair growing on their heads. Girls ran through the streets, laughing and tossing their hair, discovering a part of themselves that had been denied for generations. Zara, now a queen, did not celebrate alone. She looked upon her people with compassion. She did not hold anger in her heart for those who had wronged her. Instead, she felt pity for those blinded by jealousy and fear. She knew that punishment had already touched them. Mema Vero and Vero had already been humbled. Made to serve, and that was part of the justice of the moment. For Mema Vero, this was a bitter lesson learned too late. She had sought to destroy the girl she considered an enemy, only to realize that innocence and truth could not be defeated by lies. For Vero, it was a lesson in humility. She had grown up believing her mother's bitterness was justified. Now she understood the consequences of envy and wrongdoing. Zara never sought revenge. She ruled with wisdom, kindness, and patience. The prince was always at her side, helping her guide the village into a future filled with hope. Together, they taught the people that cruelty and jealousy could destroy, but courage, innocence, and truth could heal even the deepest wounds. Years later, Stories of Zara and her long hair became legend. Mothers would tell their daughters about the girl who was hated, who was betrayed, but who rose to save them all. Be like Zara, they would say. Strong, pure, and brave. Even when the world turns against you, truth and goodness will always grow back, just like her hair. And so the bald village became a place where women could grow hair, where children could play freely, and where jealousy and hatred were remembered only as lessons of the past. Zara's name lived on, not as a girl who suffered, but as a queen who healed a village, who forgave when she could have hated, and who proved that innocence and truth were stronger than the darkest curses. The prince and Zara ruled for many years. Together, they guided the village through joy and prosperity. The people never forgot how one girl's courage and purity had broken a curse that had lasted for generations. And Mama Vero and Vero? They learned the hardest lesson of all: envy destroys not only the one it targets, but also the one who harbors it. Zara stood on the palace balcony one evening, watching the sun set over the village. Her hair flowed in the wind, her heart full of peace. She had been hated, betrayed, and wronged, but she had also triumphed. She had survived, she had saved the village, and she had become the queen she was always meant to be. And for the first time in the village's long history, there was no curse left to fear. The village was free, and Zara, the girl who had been hated for her long hair, had finally found her place, shining brighter than anyone could have imagined.